Welcome today, guys. My name is Dr. Phil, and today we're going to be looking at teaching gifted adolescents. So what we're going to look at is, what is a gifted learner? There are many definitions of a gifted learner by Board in 1989, but according to the US Department of Education, a gifted learner is a youth with outstanding talent, perform or show the potential for performing at remarkably high levels of accomplishment when compared to others their age, their experience, or in their environment. Children and youth exhibit high capability in intellect, creativity, or artistic areas and show unusual leadership capacity and excel in specific academic fields such as maths, English, and etc. These require services that are not ordinarily provided by the schools. So today we're going to be bringing in a mother and her daughter, 15-year-old daughter, and we're going to be bringing in two teachers to talk about it. So can everyone welcome Miss Costello and her 15-year-old daughter, Emma, to the show. And Miss Costello, what have you noticed about your daughter?
Well, recently Emma has become really disengaged with school and her social life. Her grades used to be really high across all subjects, but they've really dramatically fallen. Her teachers have always said she was very creative but capable of abstract thinking, but now she's no interest in anything. I think she's not being challenged in school, but she has said herself, and I think that's partly why she's so disengaged. She's also been very emotional lately. She cries a lot, she's really impatient with her friends, and people see her as stubborn and uncooperative, but I think there's something more to the problem than just her being stubborn and uncooperative.
So I'm just going to pose the question that would it not be great to be a gifted student? That they have been easy in school and they were bound to be rich and successful due to their knowledge. But Woolfolk in 2003 suggests that adolescents with high IQs above 180 find it difficult to adjust. So we're just going to talk to Emma. Emma, can you add on what your mum said there?
Well, most people would consider being branded a gifted adolescent as a positive trait and that I'm destined for great things after school. But sadly, this is not the case for me. I'm very sensitive about the topic and I'm subject to criticism and taunts in school. Even the most simplest tasks, such as speaking or talking, I'm ridiculed by my peers because when I'm just merely expressing my opinion, I'm just seen as someone who is speaking more affluently than my peers. And I even decided to do some research on this topic myself, and Burke in 2005 has said that younger girls are more, like myself, are more suppressed to being depressed and report emotional and social problems, which I have reported to my teacher, Miss Comiskey. I'm consistently bored in class and I'm not being challenged. It doesn't end there. I'm frustrated at the end of the day, and even when I go home to my parents and my peers, I just feel so isolated because no one shares the same abilities or interests as myself. So overall, I just feel unaccepted and isolated in society.
Just to build on what Emma said there, Jackson in 2002 suggests that gifted adolescents cannot intellectual equals to share their common gifts. So they can't find people to share their gifts because they're so rare. So who we're going to talk to now is we're going to talk to Miss Comiskey, her teacher in the school. So Miss Comiskey, what have you seen?
Hi. Well, as Emma's mom has said, she's become bored and frustrated, and these are typical characteristics of adolescents that are gifted. So it is vital that we identify gifted adolescents early to ensure that the best possible education can be provided for them and that we get to nurture their gift, or else it will begin to fade. Typically in schools, for identifying gifted adolescents, the recommended model is the Joseph Renzulli model. Joseph Renzulli is the director of the National Centre for the Gifted and Talented in the University of Connecticut. His model was founded in 1986, is mainly based on three methods of identifying gifted adolescents. Firstly, through testing. So this makes up 50% of the talent pool. Any child that scores above the 92nd percentile in their test is deemed as gifted. Another pathway is through teacher nominations. Teachers look out for adolescents that display other characteristics that are not testable, such as unusual interests, ability to complete tasks, and then they go ahead and nominate that adolescent to be screened. Through screening then, they come from a range of nominations, through teacher nominations, self-nomination by the student, and also through peer nominations, whereby the student is then tested, goes through a ring of interviews, and is then possibly deemed as a gifted adolescent. So if you go through screening, you're not automatically deemed as gifted, whereas if you are scored above the 92nd percentile in their test, you are deemed as gifted.
So we're just going to pose a question to Emma. Emma, have you ever been tested to be seen as a gifted adolescent?
I've taken an IQ test in which I scored over 180.
And do you feel that some of them tests are beneficial to you?
They are very beneficial because let people know what the problem is.
What we're going to look at is we're going to bring in another teacher. We're going to bring in Mr. Doran to talk about some of the strategies he has found to teach and gifted adolescents. Welcome, Mr. Doran.
Thanks very much, Doctor. Thanks for having me on the show. Yes, so today we're going to look at some ways we can tackle some of the issues that Emma and Ms. Comiskey have been finding in the classroom. So the first thing we found that was based on research, of course, was that we could, with Emma, accelerate her into a class ahead of her years. So this would challenge her. This would give her some more difficult work to do, so she mightn't feel as bored in the classroom. But then there's been research by Vern that has suggested this might be the best thing. That Vern has suggested that this might lead Emma to be left out of her own social group, as she'll be in a class of students that will be much older than her, which isn't great for her childhood development. So then we were looking at other ways which consisted of mixed ability grouping. This is basically where you put students of the same age as Emma and the same ability as Emma into a class that would where they all group together, and so they could work on problem solving tasks and different things together. But this isn't always ideal either, because students like Emma are so rare. So then for Emma's situation, what we were considering was a thing called enrichment. And enrichment is basically where Ms. Comiskey would give Emma tasks that would make her critically think, and make her experimental tasks that would make her critically think on different problem solving tasks that would challenge her more so than what she's been challenged now. So Barbara suggested that what's needed with this as well is feedback, and not rather than judgment on the actual tasks. So what Barry was suggesting was that Emma would be able to develop a way to evaluate her own learning. So then in future, when she's actually doing experiments maybe, or problem solving tasks, or reviewing her own papers possibly, that she'd be able to critically analyse those papers. So from here, what we're going to do is actually give these suggestions to Ms. Comiskey, and we're going to evaluate them in the classroom and see how they work, and then we'll reassess it then in a few months' time.
That's today's show wrapped up, guys. Appreciate you all for tuning in, and thanks for listening.